Hello besties, welcome back to another video. Here we are, and I'm basically just gonna be yapping about books as I do, but they're gonna be like questions and I'm gonna answer the questions, and all the questions are about books. Great, so now we're on the same page. But I think this is gonna be really fun because it's gonna help me like reflect on basically everything I read this year, which it's a little weird because I started reading back in January, but it didn't really pick up until the month of May. So really, this is kind of like the mid to end of year book tag, because all of the books I'm going to be talking about, well, most of them are going to be between May and December. But either way, it's going to be fun, and there are probably going to be some questionable answers to these questions, but I think it will be fun nonetheless. Also, for the sake of time, I'm going to be combining some of the questions that are somewhat similar to me anyways, and then some of the questions that have the same book as the answer. First question, the most disappointing book of the year that I read, and that is probably Magnolia Parks, which okay, I really wanted to like this so bad, and maybe it was because I wasn't holding the physical book, or it was because I read it on my laptop, but the whole concept of the story I didn't love. And I know people are like, I know on the surface it's like about a toxic relationship and like toxic friendships, but they're like, if you get it, you get it. And I was like, I didn't get it. I don't get it. Which is okay, but like, oh my god, when I tell you that like the way I was so frustrated the whole time reading it, and I could have DNF'd it multiple times, but I'm like, no, I want to get through it, I want to finish it, I want to like see what the hype is about. And the ending got me, but like just the whole thing in general, like I just wasn't vibing with. I didn't like it. I don't think it's going to be a series I continue, maybe one day, but for now I just think it's not for me. I don't get it. I'm not one of those girlies who get it, and that's okay, but I really, really wanted to like it. So when I didn't, I was like, oh, this is really sad, because I really wanted to like it. A unpopular / underrated book, and then I also combined this with the most unique concept that I read this year, and that is The Isle of Blood and Stone by Mickaël Lussier. On my Goodreads and Fable Wrapped, I love how they do it, it's so fun. On those Wrapped, this was my least rated book, or like the book that has the least amount of like ratings compared to something like ACOTAR. So this actually is an underrated book, but it is the concept. I've never read anything like it, and it was towards like the beginning-ish of my reading journey, but even now, like, I still haven't read anything that quite captures this concept, which is so fun. But it's basically about three friends. One is a king, one is a map creator, and he goes to literally like a school for creating like maps, and like, oh my god, it's so cool. And one of their friends, who is a warrior, I guess I'll just call her, or like she is on the council, like she's the cousin of the king, but essentially it's about these three, and they find a map made by the map maker's father, who is believed to be deceased, and they basically have to follow, or they're like, how did his dad make this map, because his dad is dead, and it looks like it was drawn maybe like 2 years ago, and they're like, what the heck? So they go on this adventure and follow this map and basically uncover a bunch of secrets and mysteries and solve like an almost decade-long mystery. It's really fun, and the concept is just insane. The cover is a little deceiving because I thought this was a dragon, and there are no dragons in it, but that's okay. But this is such a solid standalone fantasy. I loved this so much. It is still one of probably my favorite books I've read from this year. A book that was overhyped, I'm gonna say ACOTAR, and again, probably another questionable answer, but I wasn't into the first book, and I know a lot of people say like you have to get through the first book in order to like enjoy the rest of the series, and I do agree with that, because I also read I listened to A Court of Mist and Fury, and I loved that so much more than ACOTAR. I just don't love how you have to get through the first book for it to get, like, for the series to get better. And I have seen some other people say that ACOTAR is a perfect series for someone who wants to get into reading, who wants to get into fantasy. I was already a fantasy girly before I read ACOTAR, and I read some amazing fantasies before ACOTAR. So hence The Isle of Blood and Stone, Dragonfruit by Micaiah Lucy, Caraval, so many like good fantasies before I read ACOTAR, and it just didn't live up to the amount of hype that I was seeing. But again, that's just my opinion. And I just didn't get the same feeling I did as reading like something like Assassin's Blade by Sarah J Maas, which was so much better. And I did start with Assassin's Blade, but it was just the way that the plot didn't stop within Assassin's Blade, and like ACOTAR was just really dragging, and I was like, okay, I just need to get through it to get to the second one. And I did get through it, but it was just, I think it's just a little too overhyped for you just having to get through that book. For those of you who don't know, the amount of time that went into picking these books for this tag, because I am an indecisive queen, and it's just really hard to pick one. So the next one is a book that surprised you, and I had two books because why would I only pick one? There were two, and that is probably Between the Games That Gods Play and The Night We Lost Him. Both of these were library books, and oh my god, I loved both of them, but was not expecting to love either of them. They rated so high, which I wasn't expecting. The Games That Gods Play is probably like a new god tier book for me, and I don't have a physical copy unfortunately, but I'm really hoping I get one soon. And The Night We Lost Him I read as an ebook, and I loved it. Oh my gosh, I couldn't put it down. And like, I think it's categorized under like a mystery ish, I guess, and it was great. I loved it, and I was not expecting to love it as much as I did. And I think I rated that one like maybe either a 4 or 4.5 stars, because it was just really good. And I think it was because it was a mystery, and I'm not like, I don't read a lot of mysteries, but I do like mysteries, so when I pick one up, it's really easy for me to get through. So that one was a surprise as well, because I thought that it was a mystery. I kind of just thought it was a literary fiction, but I was pleasantly surprised with that. So the next question was your favorite main character from the year, but here I am changing the question and also choosing two books. So I just changed it to my favorite character of the year, not main character, and I have two because why wouldn't I? It is either Camilla from Daisy Jones and the Six or Liam from Fourth Wing. And I'm just gonna, oh my god, when I tell you that both of these books made me very emotional, Fourth Wing probably more than Daisy Jones and the Six. Let's start with Camilla from Daisy Jones and the Six. But oh my gosh, I was obsessed with her character and literally like everything that she went through, and she still like persevered and came out the other side. And oh my god, like I loved her so much. I haven't watched the TV show yet, but I know that a lot of people said in the TV show they didn't like what they did with her character, so that's kind of what's been putting me off from watching it. But I just like, oh my god, she just like, there was just so much confidence that radiated from her, and she knew what she was, and she knew who she was, and she was just, she wouldn't compromise on that, and she wouldn't let anyone make her compromise on that. And I just, oh my god, Taylor Jenkins Reid knows how to write such strong, powerful women, and I love it so much. Oh my gosh, she is literally a character that I look up to, and like I want to be her when I grow up. Like, I literally have nothing bad to say about her. The ending of the book, when she wrote that letter, oh my god, like, if you know, you know, okay? Moving on to Liam, because what more is there to say than he deserves the world and so much better than what he got in this book. That's all I'm gonna say, because like, what was that ending? Please, like, someone tell me. Favorite new author, I have so many favorite new authors, because basically almost every author I read this year was a new author to me. The only person that wasn't was Stephanie Garber. But I've rounded out this answer. I've really thought about this. I think my favorite new author of this year is Miss Elsie Silver. Funny enough, I haven't read Flawless yet. Don't come at me, please. But my copy of Wild Love is with one of my friends in Waterloo. But like, oh my gosh, she is just the queen at making me kick my feet, giggle, get giddy all at once. Oh my god, she's amazing. Like, I don't know what she puts into her books. Wild Eyes was like a drug. That's the best way I can describe it. Oh my god, I love her. I love the way she writes. I love the way she writes relationships. I love how there is usually some sort of storyline or plot of healing within all of her books, that the main characters have to like work on themselves or like heal something about themselves. And just like the banter, the relationships, the healing, like just it all. The fact that she's Canadian and most of the two stories I have read have been set in Alberta. And I went to Alberta last year with my friends around this time of the year, and it was just so magical. I can just imagine like the landscapes and the atmosphere of all of the stories because I have been there, and it's just been like my favorite place in the whole wide world. I have nothing bad to say about Elsie Silver. I want to meet her one day because I'm like, okay, since she's Canadian, I feel like I have a better chance of like obtaining that goal. She is amazing. She's my favorite, and I need to read the Chestnut Spring series because I'm slacking too hard on that. An author that didn't work out for me is Sally Rooney, which is so unfortunate because I really want to like her books. I read this one this year. I read Conversations with Friends maybe like 2 years ago. That book made me uncomfortable because it was like a cheating plot line, I think, and it felt way too, not personal, but like the way that she writes makes me feel like I'm there in the situation, and I was like, wow, I feel icky even though I'm not in a relationship and I'm not cheating on anyone. I don't know, I just don't think I relate to her writing, and I know a lot of people say that they don't like how she doesn't use quotation marks. I'm not gonna lie, did not realize that at all. Like, probably just looking back through this book, like, yeah, there's nothing. Am I surprised? No, because people say it. I just don't think I relate to a lot of like the stuff that she writes. Maybe it's just I haven't found the right book yet. I loved the cover of Intermezzo, so I'm like, okay, maybe, but I don't know. She's just like, this is the second book I've read by her that I haven't loved, so maybe we'll read Intermezzo and see, but I just don't, something about her storylines and the way that she writes her characters I just don't vibe with, which is totally fine. We're 0 for 2 right now, so maybe if we're 0 for 3, then that will really like say something. But I never want to deter anyone from reading her writing. She is so good at making you feel like you are these characters, like you're in their brains, like you're there. She's really good at that, and I just not for me though. Just her stories so far that I've read just aren't my vibe. The happiest books I've read this year, of course I couldn't pick one. I picked like 5, but anything by Elsie Silver, mainly anything from Emily Henry, specifically Funny Story, but I don't have that book right now because one of my besties has it. But I also did really love Happy Place, The Summer of Broken Rules, and Spectacular. All of these books made me like happy and kick my feet and giddy, and no surprise that most of them are like rom-com-y books, but Spectacular was just so pretty, and there were pictures and I loved it, and it was just such a great reading experience. Anything by Elsie Silver, we just heard my thoughts on Miss Elsie Silver. Emily Henry literally has the best stories ever. Funny Story in particular made me like so happy and like made me feel things that I haven't felt when reading like any sort of women's lit fic rom-com book. And it reminded me a lot of New Girl, and that's just so much nostalgia in itself because I watched that when I was in university, and it was just thinking about New Girl brings back so many good memories and like moments on the couch in my apartment with my besties. So then reading that kind of like mirrored that experience, I guess. And then The Summer of Broken Rules was just really fun. I finished it in 2 days, and it's just a cute little rom-com summer happy book that also dealt with some more serious topics that I weren't expecting, but still like the best freaking time ever. In opposition to that, the saddest books I've read this year, again, I couldn't pick one, was between Before the Coffee Gets Cold, The Ballad of Never After, and A Winter in New York. And I feel like I do have to preface, these books aren't necessarily sad or supposed to make you sad. I'm purely basing this question off of my emotional reactions to these books. These two made me emotional and made me really think and reflect on life in general. This one made me scream, cry, throw up, and caused severe emotional damage. And I think you guys actually saw that because this was in a reading vlog. But these books just in general made me feel all the feels, especially Before the Coffee Gets Cold. I read that early this year, and that was kind of like not the catalyst of what got me back into reading, but it made me want to read more, which started the catalyst after that, after I found Dragon Fruit, and then I wanted to read more. But Before the Coffee Gets Cold is such like a short little story that made me like, at the end of it, I was in awe. I sat there for a bit and I was like, oh my god, like oh my god. Winter in New York I read recently, and it made me question if I'm healed or not. Just leave that there. The Ballad of Never After, I was not expecting the emotional gut wrench that I got from this and the emotional reaction that I had to it, the mental like toll it took on me after. I feel like this kind of put me in a reading slump because I just wasn't expecting my soul to react that way. Guys, I'm dramatic, okay? Like, we know this. These ones really did a number on me this year, and I'm glad that it was only 3. I could potentially include Fourth Wing in here, but I'm not going to, so. Next up, we have the most frustrating book, and I also combined it with a book I thought I would like, but I didn't, and that is, again, Magnolia Parks. I'm not gonna touch a lot on that because you heard my thoughts before, but I just kept on getting annoyed with, like, the toxic cycle and the toxic relationship, and I just, again, I almost DNF'd it so many times. I just think it wasn't a great reading experience for me because I kept on getting frustrated and mad and like over it, but then I was like, I kept on pushing myself through it. So I don't think I would have disliked the book as much if I didn't put myself through the whole thing. But you know, it is what it is. This next question is literally right up my alley because it is your favorite covers of the year. And if you guys don't know me, I am notorious for picking a pretty book cover. Don't come at me, we all know it. It is what it is, as I said. But we have a couple. So the first one is The Love Elixir of Augusta Stern. I just love, like, it's just so cute. I'll pop like a closer, or like an actual picture up on the screen right now, but it's just so pretty and like it's just my vibe. Like I am so like drawn to that cover. The next one is the special edition of Fourth Wing. I just think this is beautiful, and like, oh my god, I've seen so many people bedazzle this cover. I've fought the urge so many times, but like the cover of this, love it so much, and I love this book with all my heart. Like this is probably my favorite book to come out of the whole year, so of course the cover was a factor of that. Next we have I just said the whole Rose Hill series. So this one, Wild Love, and then also, I don't know what the title of the next book is, but even that one, because these, my eye is automatically drawn towards, and then the deluxe editions, they all have the mountain range on the side. So when they will eventually be all together, it will make like a mountain range on your bookshelf, and I was like, you can't tell me that that is not the most fun thing you've ever seen. Like, I'm just obsessed with this series and Elsie Silver in general. And then the last one is Dragon Fruit by Micaiah Lucier. This is the catalyst. This is what started my reading journey this year, and it's just, the cover is so beautiful. Like, I am obsessed. I am so obsessed with this artwork. So even like at the back too, like it's just so pretty, and the color of the book, the story is amazing. This is like another one of my favorite books of the year. These 3 really got, or well, these 4 I guess, really got me, and I could go on and on and on as like an arts kid, but I'm not going to. I really had to narrow it down for this question, so these were the 4 that I came up with. A book that I cannot stop thinking about, / a book that I know that I'm gonna reread eventually in the future, is Fourth Wing, because duh. Why would I not? I love it, guys. Like, I can't even describe how much I love this. I'm on the bandwagon. I get the hype. I'm one of those girlies. Am I basic? I don't know. But like, oh my god, this was so good. And I'm not going to say a ton about it because I could literally gush about this book forever and go on and on and on and on and just talk your ear off. But I have nothing bad to say about this book. I love it so much, and ever since finishing this, I would say beginning of October, now it is the very end of December, I have thought about this book at least once a week, once every couple days. It's kind of crazy. That's all I'm gonna say. But like, Fourth Wing, because of course. A book I wish I got to this year. I really wish I got to Iron Flame this year, but this was purely my fault because I ordered it probably back in October when I was reading Fourth Wing, because like I know I'm gonna love this, and I kept putting it off because I was like, I don't want to wait too long because I feel like this one is also going to end on a cliffhanger, and Onyx Storm comes out at the end of January. So I was like, I'm going to wait so that like it won't be as long as a wait. And I fear I waited a little too hard, because here we are, we have not read this book yet. But I'm really hoping to read it beginning of January, because I cannot wait to continue with this story, but also I'm so scared. And I think that's another reason why I put it off, was because I was scared and I don't know what's gonna happen. But like, I know it's gonna be good, and I know it's gonna be like everything I want it to be and more. It's just, I really have no excuses at this point. So those are all the questions I had for you guys today. This was really fun, like picking out all of these books on my bookshelf and like, oh my god, this is good, I love this, like, oh my gosh, like it was fun going down memory lane. But thank you guys so much for spending some time with me today and listening to me yap about books, because that's literally all I do over here. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I will see you guys all in the next video, and I think that's all I have to say for now. Have a happy new year, you guys. Bye.